Yeah, thanks for having me, Rohit. I've studied in a boarding school most of my life. I went in at the age of 5, came out in my after my 10th standard. Then studied in Indore near in a local school. Finished 2 years there, and then sort of went on to do my graduation, and the graduation was in bachelor's. My bachelor's was in commerce. I did that for the first couple of years, and while I was pursuing it, I realized that I wanted to do something else apart from just doing BCom. And like a typical commerce graduate, one ended up enrolling into chartered accountancy based on peer pressure, parental pressure, etc. I was not sure if I wanted to do it at that point, but I then ended up doing enrolling into chartered accountancy. I dropped out after giving my IPCC. I gave my CA finals the first attempt I gave, and then I dropped out. And then I went on to start a tech company right after that. The name was Rubber Ducks. Ran it for about 9 to 11 months. Uh, and then started that did not work out. We had a fallout with the co-founder, and then I went on to start an insurtech company with a school friend of mine. That I ran for about 2.5 years. Post which I decided to embark on the journey on the company I'm with right now, which is Nova Benefits. In my previous insurtech company, also I was the principal officer and CEO, and in this one, I'm the principal officer. I'm CEO of the broking company, which is Nova Benefits Insurance Brokers Private Limited. So yep, that's a little bit about myself. Right. So my first company's name was Rubber Ducks. We were a product company. What we essentially wanted to do is, there are a bunch of lalas in the market. When I say lalas, what I mean to say traditional businesses. In colloquial language, we call them lalas. But they were seeing traction on companies like Flipkart and others, e-commerce companies, where they saw that going online with your products had their own benefits. Our pitch to them would be, you're currently an offline business. We will help you with the tech. We will help you with the product. Why don't you take it online, and then and then you can obviously, we showed them traction on how much revenue they can increase, how we can cut costs, etc., etc. And so that used to be our pitch. So kapda makan, or 2 GB data after Geo came in. Everybody's online. So that was our pitch, and that's what Rubber Ducks did. We had a bunch of clients. We had Malgadi, which again went on to raise. We built a product for them, went on to raise capital. Then there are a bunch of other companies which perhaps you can find on my profile. That was my first company, an online product, end-to-end product company. The second one was Integrated. Integrated was an insurance broking company. The company basically belonged to a childhood friend of mine, from school. He was looking out for somebody to come and run the business for him, and he essentially spoke with me. I was also sort of looking at doing something in the fintech space or the insurtech space, and that's how I landed up in that company. We ran it for about 1 year together, and then we sold most of the equity to another to a bunch of investors who were based out of Bombay. There, I was made principal officer, and principal officer or chief principal officer at Nova, that I currently hold as my title, is a statutory position. Any insurance company, insurance broking company, or a corporate agency, any company that is licensed by IRDA, which is the regulator of the insurance industry in India, uh, uh, they are they have to compulsorily appoint a legal head of the company, which IRDA considers as the CEO of the company. They are accountable, they are responsible for running operations, for doing business, and for the overall management of the company. So essentially, principal officer is that position that any company that's licensed by IRDA holds. Yeah. So, and then the second company, we did a bit of retail business. We did a bit of government business. We did a bit of group business. Basically, we were all over the place in that company. We did multiple verticals. We had multiple verticals. We did aviation. We did cattle. We did animal insurance. Yeah, all of that there. And then at Nova, we are a purely employee benefits company. Uh, yeah, that's a bit of that's a bit about each of the companies that I ran. So at Rubber Ducks, I had no clue about what tech was. I was a dropout, right? I gave my finals in November. I started the business in December. So I was clear that I did not want to do CA. So I just jumped into it. I had a couple of co-founders who had done, who had built a product company before this. One of them was a coder himself, and the other one was a business guy and knew a bit of product management. So, uh, all three of us, I was responsible for business and operations. We scaled that in about 9 months. We scaled to about, I think, 35, 38 team members. So it scaled decently well, but I felt like that was perhaps reckless expansion. I think we scaled a little too fast, and we weren't able to manage that scale uh, in such a short frame of time, and our systems and processes were also breaking. uh, I think that caused a bit of trouble as well to us. So uh, that company we scaled to about 38 people. Revenues were upwards of, I think, 45, 50 lakh in about 9 months. The second company integrated in the first 1 year. We did not scale a lot. I think we were what about uh, eight, nine employees at most, and the business was also quite weak. We did more of retail business because I was more or less, yeah, doing the business alone. Again, inflated startup title, but running operations, business, all of it myself with maybe a couple of people. That initially in the first year did not scale well. In the second year, we scaled to, I think, about 50, 55 people when we moved to Bombay, and there the business was much better. And and then Nova, obviously, I was one of the earliest members, I think, in the first 4 5 members of the company. This company we've seen scale fairly well. I think I've seen it personally also scale from maybe a 5 member team to now maybe 210, 215 member company in a span of about 20 months, 22 months. So the scale is at this stage, the first company was maybe 35, 38 employees. Second company about 45, 50, 50, upwards of 50. And this one about 210, 220. So I've seen this gradually improve and increase. And I've seen the mistakes that we committed in the first company, second company, and now in the third company as well. Um, so first off, when I began, it was not it. I did not begin with the fact that I was passionate about finance. So I think one of the lessons that I learned very early on from from someone I can't remember who, uh, but what I realized was if something doesn't come intuitively to you, for example, relationships or let's say business, all of this, team management, people management, all of this comes, I think, very naturally to me. I love doing it. I enjoy doing it. But finance was not coming intuitively to me. And I realized that in the first 3 to 6 months of studying as well as doing my articleship. So while I was studying, it was not coming intuitively to me. Uh, the way I began CA was obviously in the wrong way. I was not passionate. I was not. I did not look forward to the schools, the lessons, the chapters, etc. Then after that, when I started my articleship, I obviously cleared the exam, in some way or the other. I probably worked doubly hard, but I ended up still passing by a very small margin. When I started my articleship, which is the practical experience of chartered accountancy, and I think in the first 6 months, I realized that I did not enjoy this. But in that articleship phase, I was given the responsibility with obviously my principal, my CA, to start a branch in Indore, which is a tier two city from Bombay. It was a decent firm. The name was RSM India. RSM is a fairly large consulting firm in the US, which had an office in partnership with Suresh Surana and Associates. Um So the opportunity was interesting because I started to learn how to build a small branch in a city, which in a city like Indore. So I was fairly comfortable and I enjoyed speaking to customers, trying to get business. I started enjoying that, and that's when I started, sort of feeling like, okay, let me just finish the 3 years of articleship, and then I'll figure what I want to do after this. The experience was what I was enjoying. There was obviously no money in articleship; we don't get enough stipend, but I enjoyed the experience. I think at the end of the articleship, towards maybe the last 7, 8 months, I started doing my own thing. I started, obviously you learn how to audit, you learn how to do tax returns, you learn how to do tax audits, statutory audits, all of that, internal audits. I started building my own clientele, and I started because the work was getting mundane, and you were not building something, you were essentially just running operations in that branch. I stopped enjoying it after maybe 2 years, 2 months, 2 years, 3 months. I started building my own clientele. I would do a bunch, maybe at that time, something like 200, 250 returns per year, which was my own clientele. I ended up getting a few process audits, internal audits, couple of statutory audits, tax audits, all of that. So I felt like maybe I should do consulting, tax consulting or something like that. I did that for a few months with my articleship, but I realized that I don't enjoy that at all. And the way I realized it is, one of my teachers, one of my lecturers from my CA coaching, he wanted to do a world record, and the world record was for the maximum number of speeches given by an individual in 24 hours. I At that point I used to also visit Toastmasters very often. I think he saw me at Toastmasters, and I was, I think, the president or the vice president of the club at that point. He saw that I enjoyed doing all of this. He told me, can you run this for me, can you take it over? I just want to concentrate on the speeches. I think I left my firm. I basically called my principal, my CA, and said that I want to be doing this, so I won't be coming from tomorrow onwards. My articleship was almost towards the end, and yeah, he did not push back. He did not say anything. So I jumped onto the world record piece, did it for about 1 month. I think that experience, that 1.5 month, from just the idea of doing a world record to executing it end to end. So we were awake for 24 hours. We had about 80 people participate and volunteer and help us do that. And that experience, I enjoyed immensely. I think I took a cue from that experience, thinking that I'd love to take an idea up to execution, and I think that consciousness, self awareness, I had in myself. Right after that, I gave my CA finals, and I gave it. I obviously studied for a couple of months, 3 months, very extensively, and gave the exam. But at the end of the experience, right after the exam, once I gave the exam, I came out thinking, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this. I don't enjoy this. To answer your question on when I pulled the plug, do I regret? Do I feel like I feel like it's the best choice I've made? And I'll also tell you, the rationale behind it. And the rationale behind it is that you have a goal of life, you have a vision of life. The vision of life is to be happy and to enjoy what you're doing, and it's not about one course and finishing that course. So my life, and as kids, we tend to think that the course is our life. You make your email ID stating CA Prashant at Gmail. Or I didn't do all of that, but I saw a lot of my batchmates, a lot of my friends doing all of that. And what used to bewilder me is that how can doing a course be the objective of my life? I did not want to lose the vision of my life, so I decided that this course. And I think very early on, I decided that once I turned maybe 23, 24, I don't want to invest more time in doing a course that I'm not enjoying. So right after my exam, my co-founder came up with we were just sitting one weekend and thinking, what do we do? What do we do? He said, tomorrow, let's start a business. Let's do a product. I know a couple of customers who want to do this. So just think of it in this way, that on December 6th or something, on either of November or December, one of these months, let's say on December 6th, we're sitting and discussing the idea. December 7th, 8 a.m., I'm looking for an office. So it was that fast. It was so swift for us to execute. I feel like that was one of the best decisions I took in my life. I don't take credit for taking that decision. A couple of people who've guided me in that process. One is who continues to be my partner. She's also a chartered accountant. But she was the one who sort of told me that if you don't enjoy it, just leave it. Doesn't matter to any of us. And then my co-founder from the first startup, he also his name is Saurabh. He obviously was there to guide and mentor me through this journey, and he was the one who said, "It's not for you. If you want to drop it, drop it." So I think I had a bit of backing from my family from that perspective, and maybe a friend or two of mine. And that gave me the confidence to quit. And I feel like if I would have not quit, I would have really lacked in life, and compared to where I am right now or what I'm doing right now. That's the best decision I've taken in my life, I think. See, there used to be a saying while we were doing chartered accountancy, which was where there is a will, there is a way. After November, there is May, because you have two attempts. One is in May and one is in November. And the second one was try, but never give up. Try. There were these quotes. What I realized is there is a loop of May and November that you get stuck to. And what happens is, so for example, you give an exam, then you again wait. If you don't get through, you again wait for the next exam, and it just goes on and on and on and on. I've seen a bunch of my friends, colleagues, who've ended up spending, maybe, and this is the prime age where you really can work hard. You can really mold yourself to build a work ethic, to learn, to do all of that. And I feel it's precious time, and time is the only variable that's limited. Anything else, you can obviously pivot and you can do whatever you want. I think what I'd like to advise is, don't forget the vision of life. The vision of life is to do n number of things, but essentially, to be happy. And just one course is just a cog in the wheel. It's just one chapter. Even if you don't complete that chapter, you still have a bunch of other chapters that you would want to complete. And trust me, I think I'm one of the testimonies here. And I know a bunch of folks, right? I mean, you have inspiration from a bunch of people who've left midway and still gone on to do really good things. I'm not saying I've done something, but I know that at least my years over the course have been productive. If I would have done my chartered accountancy, I don't think my years would have been this productive. I don't think I would have learned as much. I don't think I would have gotten the experiences I've gotten over the last maybe 4 or 5 years since I've dropped out.